Good morning, everybody. This is a live emergency briefing as Tropical Storm Fred continues to intensify, and we actually do have another hot tower located very near center, or at least the western side of center. And these are the echo tops showing that intense convection or even a little supercell storm there. Probably has a water spout in progress over the very warm Gulf of Mexico surface. But that thing is actually spiking up to about 55,000 feet up. So that's echo tops there. This is echo tops on the radar, picking out that supercell-like storm here. Basically, almost like a northwestern eye wall. This is the center of Tropical Storm Fred. Hurricane reconnaissance aircraft measured a 993 minimum pressure when we had one of these hot towers or little supercell storms fire very close to the center. Dropped that minimum pressure down to 993 millibars. And now we've got another one of those with very high echo tops. Major latent heat release is happening within this convection on the northwestern side of this storm. That is the inner core, the inner eye wall, basically, of this tropical storm there. And I wouldn't be surprised if this even makes a run at hurricane. The only negative is this big-time mid-level clear slot that's coming in here, wrapping around the east side of the center. And that's only going to make the tornado threat a lot worse, as it should invigorate a lot of this convection, leading to a little bit of a low-level instability developing, some breaks in the clouds, or even a little reduction in the high-level clouds or the low-level cloudiness there. The rainfall could cause this thing to intensify. Most of the models show that northwestern wobble has ceased and that this should resume a due northward motion, bringing it very close to the Panama City area. Landfall expected late afternoon into evening near Panama City. And just to the east, where you get that onshore flow all the way around the Florida Big Bend, that's where there's likely to be that 2 to 4 foot storm surge. And this wobble off to the northwest is going to bring the onshore flow just to the west of Apalachicola as well. And that'll be that 2 to 4 foot surge that we're talking about. Big southwesterlies just to the east of this dramatic pressure fall. The pressure gradient is increasing those winds as well. And you've even got a little bit of some convective elements wrapping around the east side of the eye wall, kind of showing this eye wall type of a structure that is developing around a very strong tropical storm Fred. I wouldn't be surprised if this does reach a Category 1 hurricane now. The HWRF actually shows minimum pressure dropping below 990 millibars. So that's a very low minimum pressure there. And look at that intensify even more with the development of that hot tower very close to the center. You can even see more subsidence developing within the center, and it even clearing out this eye-like feature now here at the center of this tropical cyclone as this convective tower develops right here. Hot convective tower develops, matures, leads to a pop in latent heat release, big latent heat release coming out in the middle portion of the troposphere, and that leads to surface pressure falls instantly with a reduction in the weight of the atmosphere above it, and that is able to carve out this little eye-like feature right at the center of this tropical cyclone. And I'm waiting for the next Hurricane Hunter aircraft pass to suggest that sub 990 pressures within this system as it continues to intensify. I thought that it was reached peak intensity with that last convective burst, but now we're seeing another convective burst with that supercell-like structure there right at the center, basically the northwestern portion of the center of that tropical cyclone. And we go back to echo tops. A great way of depicting very healthy, dominant convection within a uniform convective shield there. And you can see this overshooting top right there with that supercell storm. Probably has a water spout even in progress there. Then you get it's causing warming temperatures, a little bit of sinking motion within the center of that tropical storm, able to carve out that almost an eye-like feature there with that echo top rocketing up into the atmosphere. We are live. We are going to be live through Landfall as well. The HWRF is showing Landfall at about 21Z, so 4 or 5, 6 p.m. Central Time out there. It did begin that northward push just a little bit more rapidly than we thought it was going to. Let me loop this motion as well. And a tornado watch is still in effect as well as that clear slot overspreads the target area. That tornado watch includes a large swath of northwestern Florida, Panama City to Tallahassee, southwestern Georgia, all the way up to the Albany, Georgia area, and that southeastern corner of Alabama as well. And I think that tornado threat's going to ramp up this afternoon, especially as that mid-level clear slot is able to pivot ashore. The intensity models, the ship model did a very good job on this system. The H-WRF has been remarkable at depicting this intensification trend. Let's take a look at the H-WRF model here. We'll head on over to the fantastic tropicaltidbits.com site. Great visualizer for the H-WRF, which it's remarkable at how accurate these forecast models are. So here we go. This is the latest H-WRF. This was the 6Z run, and I will take this a little bit earlier, and notice how it's about 1,000 millibars. Watch this ramp up happen. Bam! That convection wraps around the core, almost picking up on those little supercell storms that develop on the northwestern eye wall, and are able to wrap around into that center. That's what will cause this thing to drop below 990 millibars, that minimum pressure below 990. You can see that the H-WRF depicts that happening on approach to the Panama City beach area. Anywhere off to the east, Panama City looks like it's going to have that onshore flow with this scenario. If it goes due north, though, that'll bring the center in very close to Panama City Beach, which should bring the worst of the storm surge, Mexico Beach, over through Apalachicola, and also onshore flow into the concave portion of this coastline further east as well. So look at that, sub 990. Still could be some intensification. The H-WRF has a 983 millibar central pressure, maybe even pushing category 1 hurricane intensity. And it looks like it's onto something with yet another hot tower developing very near the center of this storm. And there you can see that hot tower evolving. There's the latest scan, shows that ecotops are still quite cold up there and expanding. So, and even trying to wrap around the south portion of that little eye there. A lot of latent heat release happening here within, they call it a hot tower, even though the tops of these storms are cold because they penetrate high up in the atmosphere. They're cold also, creating a big difference, temperature difference between the tops of these storms and the ocean surface. Basically evidence that major latent heat release, major heat release is happening within the convection of this storm. And there you can see it continuing with that curvature here within the center of the storm. Looks like an eye-like feature starting to develop here on radar. Well to the southwest of Apalachicola, this thing is starting to move more due north now. Due north toward the coastline. Mexico Beach looks like a good place. Wherever these southwesterlies, right in that eastern eye wall, meet the coastline to the west of the Apalachicola areas where the biggest storm surge is going to happen. And that could be a 2 to 4 foot type storm surge above normal tidal levels, especially with those southwesterlies coming ashore just to the west of the Apalachicola area there. You can see that intense convection near just on the west side of the center has definitely cleared out that eye, leading to some greater surface pressure falls, even more subsidence within that almost a donut-shaped eye starting to clear out there right at the center of this tropical cyclone. And you've got that mid-level dry slot that's right along the eastern edge of that inner core of convection, that dry slot moving from south to north in the mid-levels of the atmosphere there happening as well, and that at the nose of that clear slot helping to enhance that convective band that's coming into Apalachicola right now as well. And we were also monitoring that convective band coming ashore near the Carabel area, some of these supercell structures that are within these outer spiral bands that are coming ashore as well. I was watching this western edge of the inner core as it looked like it was starting to erode from west to east just a little bit. But now it is anchored in place there, which tells me that the upper level outflow is acting as an effective counterbalance to any modest southwesterly wind shear that is in place. So there's upper level outflow that's emanating out from the storm. And as that outflow as well heads in all different directions out from this inner core. And if you do have southwesterly wind shear coming in, then that east to west oriented upper level outflow will act as a counterweight to that southwesterly wind shear and can almost carve out a little area of upper level venting to allow this thing to continue. And overall, we got a very healthy dominant convective band that is wrapping around the center. And even on a smaller mesoscale, you've got these little supercell-like storms that are trying to wrap around the center as well. They're leading to major pressure falls in here, a lot of subsidence within that eye, reducing the weight of the overall atmosphere above it as that latent heat release continues to pump. And this is definitely an intensifying tropical cyclone here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here. There is definitely a tornado threat in the northeastern quadrant of this storm. That's why there is that tornado watch that also has been issued for this hurricane, or I should say tropical storm right now. Let me take a look and see if there's any more hurricane reconnaissance data. And there is some more data coming in here, folks. This mission is in progress right now, so let me take you on over to that. Next here, hurricane recon data. This is from the tropicaltidbits.com site. It looks like still 993, 994. So it still is pretty steady state there, right about that 993 zone, suggesting that it's not bottoming out just yet. Here is that plot showing you the time series plot of those pressure falls, showing you that Hurricane Hunter recon data coming in, and it is showing that minimum pressure down to 993. Looks like they're, well, down to about 995 there. Waiting for that extrapolated data to come in right now, actually. Flight level winds definitely dipped down. Look at those flight level winds dropping down to almost 5 knots in the center of the calm circulation. So waiting for the extrapolation process. I think it's 993, 994 millibars based on this updated data. 50 to 60 knot flight level winds out of the northwest right now. Last 10 minutes of OBS. They are 55 knot northwesterly flight level winds, really working that bean-shaped supercell-like storm in the northwestern portion of this storm here. Definitely showing that intensification process as well. Looks like 993, 994 millibars in the center portion of this storm. Take a look at this high-res visible satellite imagery. See if we can see the tops of that hot tower. And of course we can. Look at the gravity waves come out of those convective pops. You could definitely see the two different convective pops. The first one that brought this thing down to 993 millibars. And then the present one that we're watching right now, right there. That's it. Look at that one peak down to the south, and then bam, this one, which is actually a little closer to the center. So this supercell storm, it maybe just hasn't yet led to the surface pressure deficit or that pressure fall. Sometimes there could be just a little bit of a lag between analyzing that convection on radar and satellite and the resulting pressure deficit. But definitely you could see that big explosion there of convection. It's likely resulting in that pressure fall right now. And you can also see on visible satellite that mid-level dry slot that is wrapping around the eastern side of that core, but it's almost carving out an environment of upper-level diffluence for this inner core to continue to intensify. And it is definitely heading off to the due north now, even though it looks like that individual hot tower is whipping from east to west. The overall center is definitely heading off to the north, expecting landfall very near Panama City about 4, 5, 6 p.m. this late afternoon. Definitely got that mid-level dry slot wrapping around the eastern side of that inner core, leading to an invigoration of those convective bands as well, and an enhanced tornado threat potential. Looking at the wrap, we can see the increase in the cape that coincides with that clear slot. The clear slot is wrapping around like this, so that leads to a little bit of an enhanced cape here. And right at the nose of this clear slot, right at the nose of where that mid-level clear slot is meeting up with the coastline, causes an invigoration in the convection there, and that's why we do have this tornado watch for the northeastern quadrant of this tropical cyclone. That's where the low-level shear is greatest. Right there, we've got 2 to 300, 0 to 1 kilometer shear. You've also got these little supercell storms that will develop right near the center of this tropical cyclone that probably have water spouts at peak intensity. And this thing is moving off to the due north. Looks like it's going to make landfall very close to the Panama City area, but because of this wobble off to the northwest of that mid-level clear slot wrapping in and those convective bursts very near the center, that's likely going to bring onshore flow and the worst storm surge near and to the west of Apalachicola through Mexico Beach, close to Panama City Beach as well, depending on if that northwestern wobble can continue just a little bit. But this is definitely a dangerous situation here. Life-threatening storm surge expected anywhere near into the east of the center. Tornadoes also expected across the Florida Panhandle. We are waiting as real-time hurricane reconnaissance data is coming in as well. Here is that tornado watch that includes Tallahassee, Panama City, down toward Apalachicola, southwestern Georgia as well, and it looks like that tornado threat's going to ramp up overnight tonight, especially across southwestern Georgia. Visible satellite, just fascinating to watch. Let me show you the H-Wharf here, and you can definitely see when that inland tornado threat is going to ramp up. Here it is overnight tonight. Once that tropical cyclone makes landfall, loses the heat energy, pressure starts to rise, and the tornado threat's going to be maximized within this convective band in southwestern Georgia. And also after this hurricane comes ashore, you can treat it like a strong surface low. And you have the H-Wharf is showing the evolution of a dominant convective band there into southwestern Georgia. Likely going to be numerous tornado warnings through the night tonight. Southwestern Georgia to southeastern Alabama here. This is at 3Z, so this is at about 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Southwestern Georgia into that southeastern corner of Alabama. Big time tornado threat evolving as this system comes in, and it's going to continue for southwestern Georgia within this feeder band as well, and within the dominant convective band to the north of the center. There's the surface low. Northwestern quadrant is where you get the greatest tornado threat with these tropical cyclones. And then as you get toward about 3 in the morning out there, still that tornado threat continues, maybe even pushing toward the Atlanta area with this dominant band as we get toward daybreak tomorrow morning. Certainly could have supercell storms ongoing across the Atlanta area, 7 p.m. or 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning here, could have some tornado warnings across the Atlanta area as well. So that's what we're looking at with Fred as it's coming ashore. Definitely continues to intensify with that convective burst near the middle. I'm going to keep these live updates going for everybody. Thank you for tuning in to my live weather reports here as Tropical Storm Fred continues to intensify. Could be a high-end tropical storm when it makes landfall at the very least, maybe even a Category 1 hurricane, but the latest Hurricane Hunter recon data is suggesting that it maybe has leveled off with about a 993 millibar surface pressure, but it is very possible that that supercell storm that is on the west and the northwestern side of this tropical cyclone could cause that minimum pressure to drop even further, possibly even sub 990 millibars, as the HWRF is showing, as Tropical Storm Fred lifts off to the due north, likely making landfall very close to the Panama City area.